What's up, guys? My name is Ted, and welcome back to another episode of my new YouTube podcast on the Idaho 4. So, there's been a lot of data released lately, and I'm feeling extra spicy today. So, let's jump right back into this 2 a.m. as a dark hour timeline and see what the data and science tells us. One of the questions everyone has wanted to know for years is, did Xana and Ethan eat the DoorDash order? The answer is a resounding no. And before we get into it, let's circle back and address some of the facts we know to date. First up, we know that a DoorDash order was placed from Xana's phone at approximately 2:15 a.m. and was delivered contactless to the front door of 1122 King at 3:59 a.m. We also know from crime scene imagery that the order appeared to contain two Jack in the Box tacos, two huge servings of curly fries, and a snack of some sort in a plastic wrapper. So, according to the 4 a.m. timeline, it would be logical to deduce that almost all of this food was consumed, allegedly, by Xana and Ethan sometime in the time period of approximately 4:05 to 4:17 a.m. So, again, it's important to reiterate we are talking literally minutes, if not seconds, before Xana and Ethan were ended. Not even enough time for the enzymes in the stomach to begin to break down these food items. Well, the stomach data is in, and let's get into it. Ethan had no food in his stomach whatsoever. Xana had what is described as an abundance of partially digested food fragments in her stomach. But the key here is nothing was identified by the medical examiner in the autopsy report. So, without seeing the autopsy photograph data, what does this tell us? It tells us that nothing appeared to be identifiable by the medical examiner and detailed in the autopsy report. In short, the food that was in Xana's stomach is likely an old mass of food that's partially digested and from hours, not minutes, just before the attacks. Now, the key here obviously is the autopsy imagery, which we likely will never see. Does that imagery likely include those specific and identifiable Jack in the Box tacos and curly fries? The answer is a resounding no. Say, Ted, how do you know this? I know this because the prosecution would have absolutely used that autopsy imagery data to support their 4 a.m. timeline. But they did not. They did not mention it once in 3 years because they don't have it. The prosecution never mentioned it in the probable cause affidavit. Only recently at the sentencing hearing did we hear about this from the prosecution. Let's roll the tape.
State's evidence would show that Xana Canodal still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started.
I'm sorry, Bill. Come again. What did you just say? Say it louder.
Xana Canodal still awake at this time. In fact, had taken a DoorDash order not long before this started.
That's right. You heard it from the prosecutor himself. The narrative at trial for the 4 a.m. timeline would have been taken, not eaten. They never used the stomach content data in all of 3.5 years because they don't have it. And if people really want to know how those curly fries ended up on the floor of Ms. Kernodle's bedroom, they should be asking Dylan and the MPD, not Mr. Koberger.